The morning light spills through the floor-to-ceiling windows, bathing the sleek, minimalist apartment in gold. Everything is arranged just so, books perfectly aligned. The coffee maker humming in a rhythmic pulse, the faint scent of jasmine lingering in the air. Elias breathes it all in. His life is perfect, or at least that's what he tells himself. He stands in front of the mirror, adjusting the cuff of his tailored suit. The reflection staring back is immaculate, sharp jawline, piercing eyes, an air of quiet confidence. But beneath the polished surface, something feels off. A whisper in his mind, a feeling that doesn't belong, like an echo of a memory he can't quite grasp. An ominous overture. As Elias sips his coffee, his phone buzzes. A single message. It's happening. His hand tightens around the ceramic cup, but his face betrays nothing. He already knows who sent it, knows what it means. He slowly exhales, masking the slight tremor in his fingers. Everything has been leading to this moment. The secret, the deception, the truth clawing its way to the surface. The crack in the illusion outside. The world hums along, oblivious. The city skyline stretches endlessly, its towering glass monoliths reflecting the morning sun. Pedestrians rush by, caught in the routine of their lives. But Elias, he is not like them. He turns on the television absent-mindedly, but the news anchor's voice cuts through the haze of his thoughts. Authorities are still investigating the disappearance of. The screen glitches for a fraction of a second, a flicker of static, and then a name appears, a name he knows. Elias's stomach drops. A cold wave rushes through him. He shouldn't be seeing this. This is not part of the plan. For the first time in years, his carefully constructed world feels like it's slipping through his fingers. The unspoken truth. He steps onto his balcony, the city sprawling below. But suddenly, he sees someone watching him. A figure, far below, standing impossibly still in the moving crowd, dressed in black, unmoving, staring directly at him. His phone buzzes again. You should have left when you had the chance. His heartbeat spikes. The past is no longer content staying buried. And just like that, his perfect world shatters, foreshadowing the chaos to come. The scene lingers for a moment, letting the audience feel the weight of the unknown. The illusion of safety has cracked. Something is coming, something inevitable. And Elias, he may not survive what comes next. The first disruption. Elias stares at his phone. The words on the screen, "You should have left when you had the chance," burn into his mind. He looks back down at the street. The figure in black is gone. The morning noise of the city feels suddenly distant, muffled, like he's watching it all through thick glass. His pulse hammers in his ears. Calm down. Think. The message could be nothing, or it could mean everything. Elias locks his phone and walks inside, forcing himself to focus. He has a meeting, a normal day. He repeats that to himself. But as he reaches for his briefcase, something feels off. The apartment smells different. The faint scent of jasmine that usually lingers is mixed with something new, something metallic, something like blood. A disturbing discovery. Elias scans the room. Nothing seems out of place. The books, the coffee cup, the neatly folded newspaper, but then he sees it. A single red stain on the sleeve of his white shirt, still hanging from the chair where he left it last night. His breath catches. He reaches for it slowly, his fingers barely brushing the fabric. The stain is fresh. But that's impossible. He didn't wear this shirt yesterday. A chill races down his spine. Someone was here. The cryptic warning. A knock at the door shatters the silence. It's sharp, precise, too deliberate. Elias's body tenses as he moves toward it, slow and cautious. He checks the peephole. A woman stands there, dressed in a crisp gray coat, dark hair tucked neatly behind her ears, early 30s, sharp, knowing eyes. She isn't someone he recognizes, but she knows him. The moment he opens the door, she steps inside without invitation. "Elias Carter," she says, voice smooth, practiced. "We need to talk." Elias doesn't move. "Who are you?" She glances around the apartment, unimpressed. "That's not the question you should be asking." She turns to him, lowering her voice. "You should be asking, who do you think you are?" The mind games begin. The question slithers into his brain like a needle through fabric. Elias keeps his face neutral. "You have 10 seconds to tell me what you want before I call security." The woman smiles, just slightly. "You think they'd come for you?" She tilts her head. "You really don't remember, do you?" A slow unease creeps through his bones. "I don't know what you're talking about," he says. "Of course you don't." She exhales, almost disappointed. Then she steps closer. "Do you know what's worse than forgetting who you are, Elias?" She leans in, remembering too late. Then she reaches into her pocket and hands him something. A single key. Small, silver, unremarkable. Except Elias has seen it before, somewhere. A forgotten fragment of a memory stirs. An image of this exact key resting on a wooden desk. He doesn't know why, but his chest tightens. Take it, she says. If you want answers, you'll use it. Elias hesitates, then grips the key. It's cold against his palm. The woman watches him, then steps back toward the door. This isn't about winning, Elias, she says softly. It's about surviving. Then before he can ask anything else, she's gone. The doubt creeps and Elias locks the door behind her, his mind spinning. Who was she? What did she mean? And why did the key feel so familiar? His phone buzzes. Another message. Don't trust her. Elias stares at the screen. His throat tightens. Someone else is watching. And suddenly the walls of his perfect world feel like they're closing in. The walls are closing in. Elias runs. The rain lashes against his skin, cold as steel, but he doesn't stop. He can't stop. Every breath feels like fire in his lungs. Every step echoes like a death knell in the hollow streets. Somewhere behind him, distant but gaining, are footsteps. They're coming. His pulse pounds. He turns a corner and vanishes into an alley, pressing himself into the darkness. For a moment, only the sound of his own breathing fills the void. Then a voice, low, amused, too close. You really thought you could outrun this? Elias squeezes his eyes shut. The voice is familiar, too familiar. He grips the key in his pocket so tightly that its jagged edges bite into his palm. Blood drips between his fingers. Nowhere to run. The city that once felt like home is now a labyrinth of threats. Every corner is a potential trap. Every face is a possible enemy. Elias stumbles into a shadowed doorway, rain-soaked and shaking. He presses his forehead against the cold brick, willing himself to think. There has to be a way out. But the problem is, he no longer knows who's hunting him. Or worse, why. His phone vibrates in his pocket. He hesitates, then pulls it out. One new message. You only have one way out. You know what you have to do. A tremor runs through him. He doesn't know who sent it. But deep down he knows they're right. A line he swore he'd never cross. Elias's reflection stares back at him from a broken window. He barely recognizes himself. The man he used to be, confident, controlled, untouchable, is gone. In his place is someone desperate, hunted, willing to do the unthinkable. He pulls out the key, the same key that woman gave him. The answers are behind a door, but which one? Then a thought, a name, surfaces, and his stomach twists. There's only one place this key could belong. Alex Mercer's office. The man he once trusted. The man who may have betrayed him. The man who, if he's right, Elias might have to kill. The weight of betrayal. Elias's hands shake as he steps into the towering glass building. It's nearly empty this late at night. Silent, except for the hum of security cameras. He keeps his head down, moves quickly. His clothes are still damp, leaving a faint trail of water on the pristine marble floors. With every step, the weight of what he's about to do grows heavier. What if he's wrong? What if Alex isn't the traitor? What if Elias is the villain in all of this? His fingers tighten around the key. There's no turning back now. A door opens. A choice is made. The office is dark. The scent of leather and old books lingers in the air. Elias approaches the desk. His hands are steady now, cold, calculated. He inserts the key, turns it. The drawer slides open with a whisper. Inside, a single file. He flips it open, and his world shatters. Names, dates, transactions. His name, but not as the victim, as the orchestrator. The memory hits him like a tidal wave, pieces snapping into place. He wasn't betrayed. He was the betrayer. The door clicks behind him. A slow clap echoes in the darkness. Took you long enough. The shadow in the room. The slow clap lingers in the air like a gunshot. Elias doesn't turn around. He already knows who it is. Alex Mercer steps into the faint light seeping through the blinds. His expression unreadable. He looks amused. Took you long enough, Alex says, crossing the room. Elias grips the open file tighter. His knuckles go white. His heart is pounding. But his voice remains cold, controlled. What is this? Alex stops a few feet away. He glances at the file, then back at Elias with a smirk. That, my friend, is the truth. Elias wants to throw the file in Alex's face, to deny it, to fight back. But the names, the transactions, the memories, they're real. He remembers now. Every lie, every betrayal, every person he thought had turned on him, when in reality, he was the one pulling the strings. No, Elias whispers. Yes, Alex corrects. You were always the architect of this. The only difference now, you finally see it. A war inside Elias staggers back. The walls of the office pressing in. Memories flood him in flashes. Deals made in the dark. Trust broken. A past self he buried long ago. You did this. Alex continues. And now you're running from it. But deep down you know there's only one way out. Elias grips the gun at his side. His pulse is deafening. Why are you telling me this? Alex steps closer, his voice almost disappointed. Because I need to know what kind of man you really are. The betrayer faces judgment. Elias lifts the gun, aiming it directly at Alex's chest. His hands are steady now. Alex doesn't flinch. Go ahead, Alex taunts. Pull the trigger. Finish what you started. Elias's mind is a battlefield. Every choice he's ever made, every deception, every person he's hurt, it all leads here. He could end it, right now. And yet I don't want this. Elias breathes. But you already chose it. Alex counters. A tense silence, then a gunshot. Elias gasps as pain blooms in his shoulder. He wasn't the one who fired. His legs buckle, the world tilting. His vision blurs. But he sees a third figure stepping from the shadows. A woman, cold eyes, a gun still raised. You should have pulled the trigger when you had the chance, she murmurs. And then everything goes dark. A slow awakening. The world drifts in and out like waves pulling back from the shore. Pain, dull, deep, spreading. Elias gasps awake, his body screaming in protest. The metallic tang of blood lingers in his mouth. He tries to move. His shoulder burns like fire. Dim light filters in from a cracked window, illuminating a room unfamiliar, yet suffocatingly familiar. He's back where it all started. A chair, a desk, the same four walls where he once made choices that shattered lives. He blinks. Not alone. Alex Mercer sits in the corner, untouched, unbothered, idly tapping his fingers on the armrest. And across from him, her, the woman who shot him. She stands motionless, unreadable, her gun now holstered. You lived, she finally says. Elias grits his teeth. Should I be thanking you? A pause. Then no. The cost of truth. Alex sighs and leans forward. Do you understand now? He asks. Do you finally see it? Elias doesn't answer. But deep inside, he does. There was never a hero here. Never a villain. Just players in a game so ancient and intricate that morality had long since eroded. He thought he was chasing the truth. But the truth was chasing him. And now he has nowhere left to run. Does justice prevail? So what happens now? Elias finally asks, voice hoarse. Alex exchanges a glance with the woman before smiling. That damn infuriating smile. That depends. Elias clenches his fists. On what? On whether or not you're ready to stop lying to yourself. The woman steps forward, placing something on the table. A gun. A simple choice. Wrapped in steel and inevitability. One last decision, Elias, she says softly. End it, or accept it. The room is silent, thick with unspoken words. Elias stares at the gun. Memories flash. Every lie, every betrayal, every moment he thought he was in control. Only to realize he was a pawn. He was never the hunter. He was always the prey. He exhales shakily, and then a chilling realization. A slow smile creeps onto his lips. Not of joy, but of understanding. I get it now. Alex leans back. Do you? Elias finally meets his gaze. Eyes sharp, unreadable. You were never testing me. Alex raises a brow. You were breaking me. Elias breathes, piece by piece, until there was nothing left but this. He gestures to the gun. And now I have two choices. Die, or become exactly what you wanted me to be. The woman tilts her head. And what is that? Elias chuckles. A hollow sound. A monster. A pause. A flicker of something in Alex's eyes. Satisfaction. Then, without another word, Elias reaches for the gun. The final whisper. The screen fades to black before the shot rings out. Or maybe, there was never a shot at all. Maybe the worst endings aren't the loud ones. Maybe they're the quiet ones. The ones that leave you haunted, wondering, waiting. Because the most terrifying thing, you never know which choice he made. And maybe, just maybe, neither does he.